In my opinion, Sanya has to learn how to handle Kenya. Because if she doesn't, Kenya is going to eat her alive until she is no longer on the show. I'm going to talk about that and so much more that happened on this week's episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta right after this. What's up, kinfolk, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, do me a favor and subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, do me a favor and get notified so you'll know whenever I upload new videos to the channel. Alright, kinfolk, come on into the house. We have a lot to talk about, and it all centers around this week's episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta, where I came to the conclusion that Sanya is going to have to learn how to handle Kenya. If not, then Kenya is going to eat her alive, and she's going to keep coming for until she runs her off the show like she did Kim Fields. Now, I'll be honest with you. I might be one of the few people who actually like Sanya. I like everything that she brings to the show. She brings another successful black woman on our television screens every week. She is very beautiful. She dresses immaculately. I think she's like the best dressed woman of the season, hands down. I love her and her husband's dynamic, and I like her family dynamic. And to be quite honest with you, I think she's the best new housewife that Real Housewives of Atlanta has had probably since Kenya and Portia. And on top of that, I think Sanya has a lot of storylines that she can explore in the upcoming season. So I definitely want to see her stick around. And I would say, I know it's very hard to try to handle Kenya. Kenya is the quote-unquote shade assassin. Her mouth is lethal. It can evoke, big drama out of the toughest cookies. And the only person that knew how to handle Kenya was Phaedra. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. Out of the 100 times that Kenya and Phaedra went at it, Phaedra was probably only able to really handle Kenya about 20% of the time. And the other 80% of the time, Phaedra failed miserably. So I understand that's not an easy thing to do to try to control Kenya and her shade. But I will give a little tip to Sanya that I think that she needs to continue just to call out whenever she feels Kenya has wronged her, like Kenya told her to. And the only thing about it is she has to make sure all her T's are crossed and all her I's are dotted when she comes for Kenya, and when she starts to air out all of those grievances that she may have with her, because Kenya's going to come around and she's going to make sure all her T's are crossed and all her I's are dotted, and she's going to make sure her argument is sound and accurate before you even think about even approaching her with the drama. So that's my only bit of advice to Sanya when it comes to Kenya. She's just gonna have to learn how to be better at sparring with her. Speaking of Sanya, when the episode opened up with Sanya's husband getting upset about the ladies coming for Sanya and arguing back and forth with Sanya, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't think Sanya's husband was in the wrong. And I don't think he was in the wrong because, as you know, this is Sanya's first season. This is her husband's first season as a house husband on the show. And they don't know the ropes yet. And he doesn't know the ropes yet. And so he's still handling things in real life and not in reality TV show life. And I think that he is will have to get used to the drama and get used to his wife always being called to the mat. And I really do think that Todd is a good example of how to handle it respectfully. Up until last episode when Marlo got just completely disrespectful. But I will say this. When he did come for Kenya, I like that Kenya did this one thing. I like how when Kenya was talking to Sheree about what happened, and she was saying like, I thought he was too aggressive coming for a woman, and he was too loud, and this, that, third, fourth, fifth, and the sixth. And then in her confessionals, Kenya opened up and she really said, the reason why she felt attacked and felt a certain type of way is because she didn't have a husband or a man there defending her. And I think it really made her feel sad about her divorce. And I think that's why she kind of jabbed at Ross that hard, as hard as she did. And I think that she realized that, and that, she really wasn't, wanting to make Ross upset, but she only got upset when he defended his wife because she wanted someone to defend her as well. And I thought that was very big of Kenya to admit that in the confessionals. And it goes to show you the growth, or the amount of growth that Kenya has had over these couple of seasons. And it shows that this season she's trying to be more vulnerable and more open instead of just being closed off with her feelings and everyone thinking that she is just a witch. And I do believe that Kenya may have apologized to Sanya's husband about that, because when she came to the next dinner, she hugged Sanya's husband, smiled, and they greet each other warmly. So I think that is water under the bridge. And with that being said, I think Sanya and Ross also have to know that Kenya is a veteran on this show. And a lot of what is expected from veterans by producers, from what I've been told, is allegedly they want their veterans to be co-producers and produce scenes. And I think when Kenya came back and she was smiling and Sanya was like, I got a problem with you. And Kenya was like, me? Like, all I was doing was producing a scene. So I think that Sanya is going to learn how to understand that. Now, moving back right along to Marlo. Another episode of Marlo being delusional, and this is how. Marlo frustrated me this episode because whenever she was, in someone's ear about how she felt like Kandi and Todd wronged her, specifically how Kandi wronged her by bringing her nephews up during that moment, it just goes to show this is the clearest example of Marlo's delusion and her trying to gaslight people to be on her side. She could not for the life of me understand how she was sounding like a hypocrite and why Kandi called her out on it. And I think Mayetta understood too. But Mayetta, she's sweet and she didn't want to be like, well, Kandi was right. Now, it might not have been the best setting, but Kandi technically was right, Marlo. You're sitting here and you're making things uncomfortable for Ralph. You're coming at Ralph's neck. You're pretty much saying so many words that Ralph is a horrible stepfather, a horrible husband, a horrible father for not adopting his son. And you hit all these points, as to why he is could be seen as a horrible person by his stepson, when you just did the same thing to your nephews. And that's all Kandi was doing. And I think what really happened was Kandi was more so frustrated with the hypocrisy of it all. And I think she was even more frustrated because here you have Ralph and she's coming down on Ralph and trying to make Ralph to be a bad guy. And Kandi did not like that because she's like, Marlo, you're just doing the same thing and he trying to make Ralph a bad guy. So if he's a bad guy, you're definitely one. And I think that is what Marlo is fighting with eternally. She's trying to fight with the fact that she knows Kandi is right. And she doesn't want to admit that. So she's just circling around the wagon trying to make everyone think that Kandi was wrong. And I think everyone there, 99% of everyone knows that Marlo actually was in the wrong. Now, one of those people who knows Marlo was in the wrong was Sheree. And I think Marlo wants to tell Sheree something and she doesn't know how to tell Marlo. And I think what Sheree wants to tell Marlo is this. It seems to me that Sheree has picked a team. It's just not Marlo's team. And Sheree is having a hard time trying to tell Sanya and Marlo, I'm getting with the winning team. Because Sheree, at this point, Sheree knows she's in survival mode. She's had so many seasons off the show to see how Kenya has pulled off her multi-million-dollar business. How Kandi has built up her multi-million-dollar franchises and businesses. And so she knows that right now, looking at this group of ladies, the money team and the winning team is Team Kandi and Team Kenya. And I think Sheree understands that she needs to keep not one foot, but both feet inside of that camp and not rustle or shake any feathers with Kandi and Kenya, because she know all the things that Kandi and Kenya can pretty much offer her in terms of her brand. And I think that Sheree's probably realizing that, if I just stick close to them, not necessarily kiss their butt, but if I just stick close to them and don't burn my bridge with them, then I should be good for a couple of seasons. And I think that's what she's struggling with to tell Marlo and Sanya, to be perfectly honest with you. Now, when it comes to Sheree and this fashion show, bruh, when it comes to Sheree and She by Sheree, I think Sheree has come to conclusion about this, and she just hasn't found out how to tell the rest of the ladies and probably her own team. And the conclusion that Sheree has come to is this: Sheree doesn't want to do She by Sheree. She's over that. She's over it. She doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want to be a fashion designer. She doesn't want to have a boutique. And I feel like she's only doing it because so many people are always talking about it. And she doesn't want to be on the whole show and not produce something because everyone's going to continue to talk about it. I really believe this fashion show is Sheree closing a chapter on She by Sheree, not opening it back up. I think this fashion show is Sheree saying, here's the line. Thank you so much. It came out summer, spring. There you go. And it is done with. And she's going to toss it away. She's not going to toss it to the side. She's going to toss it away. Sheree does not want to be a fashion designer. And it's only because if she did, she would already be one by now. It's been, 10 years? And She by Sheree has not become a full-fledged business. Which goes to show that she doesn't want to do it, because the easiest thing for Sheree to have done on these past couple of years is really like athletic workout wear, like the gear she wore to Sanya's iFit video shoot. That's the type of athletic wear that women want to see when it comes to She by Sheree, because Sheree has an amazing body. Those type of workout clothes fit her perfectly, and for a woman of her age to look so good, a lot of women would gravitate to that. Would gravitate to that workout clothes. Would gravitate to a workout tape by Sheree. Would gravitate to what Sheree's eating. Man, Sheree really could have, like Candace said, $1 billion brand, bro. Because workout is $1 billion brand, and Sheree could really corner the market with the type of ladies that watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. They are intelligent, they are professional, they are high earners who believe in supporting other black women. Man, so with all that being said, some people like, Sheree's just not smart enough to do it. Sheree's not this. Sheree just doesn't want to do it. So with that being said, I really do hope that this is a close to the She by Sheree franchise and brand, and I hope that she just really frees herself of those shackling chains. But kinfolk, that's all I have for this episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta. You can tell that things are about to start wrapping up. Everyone's pretty much hitting their storyline arcs, and now everything is finna be pretty much, wrapping up pretty smoothly. I will end by saying this. I have watched plenty of Real Housewives of Atlanta cast trips, and Sanya's cast trip, in my opinion, was the best cast trip. I don't know. I maybe have to go back and watch some more seasons, but I just really feel like that was like probably the best cast trip. I mean, I don't know. Maybe when the ladies went to Miami that time, when they had that girl and her nephew would tear up the room, that was a fun trip. But I really do think that this Jamaica trip, in terms of how it was produced, how it was planned, I think Sanya hit the nail on the head. I mean, I want to visit Jamaica now. So she did amazing for tourism of Jamaica. If you never wanted to go to Jamaica, Sanya really would make you want to go now, and I think that's because she did an awesome job. But kinfolk, we have next week's episode. I have some thoughts on it already, but I saved them for their review. Also, Kandi and Marlo making up over some fried chicken. That is Kandi to a T. But kinfolk, if you enjoyed this week's episode, let me know down in the comment section below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys over on the next one. Peace.